The door opened slowly. A deep red light poured into the basement like blood spreading across the floor. The air inside the hidden room was colder than anything we had felt before, a freezing, dead kind of cold that made it hard to breathe. Murad stepped inside first. "Arda?" he called quietly. Samir raised his phone flashlight again and pointed it into the room. What we saw made our hearts stop. The hidden room was much larger than the basement. It looked like a tunnel carved deep into the ground, its stone walls covered with strange symbols and old scratches. Some of them looked like someone had tried to claw their way out, but the most terrifying thing stood in the center of the room, a large metal cage, and inside it, someone was sitting on the floor, thin, weak, barely moving. Murad's voice broke. "Arda." The figure slowly raised his head. For the first time in 13 years, Murad looked into his brother's face. It was really him, but Arda looked nothing like the boy Murad remembered. His hair was long and tangled. His skin was pale, almost gray, like someone who had never seen sunlight. His eyes were wide and filled with fear. "Murad," he whispered. Murad ran toward the cage immediately. "I'm here. I'm here, Arda." Layla looked around nervously. "This place is wrong. We shouldn't be here." Samir noticed something else on the wall. Old chains, broken locks, and dozens of tall marks scratched into the stone, like someone had been counting days or years. Murad grabbed the cage bars and tried to pull them apart. "They locked you here? Who did this to you?" Arda didn't answer. Instead, he slowly pointed behind Murad. Murad turned around. At first there was nothing, just darkness at the far end of the tunnel. Then the ground trembled slightly. Thud. A heavy sound echoed from the darkness. Another thud, thud. Something big was moving. Samir whispered, "Do you hear that?" Layla's voice shook. "Something's coming." The red light flickered. For a moment the tunnel became completely dark. Then the light returned, and we saw it. Huge, tall enough to almost touch the ceiling, a twisted shadow-like creature crawling slowly out of the darkness. Its body looked like it was made of smoke and bones. Its arms were too long, its head bent at an unnatural angle, and its eyes, two burning red lights staring directly at us. Arda screamed from inside the cage, "No! Don't let it see you." But it was already too late. The creature stopped moving. Its head slowly turned toward us, and when it spoke, its voice sounded exactly like Murad's father. "Children." The tunnel walls began to shake. The shadows from the basement started crawling into the room behind us. Samir stepped back in terror. That thing isn't human." Murad grabbed the cage lock desperately. "How do I open this?" Arda's voice was shaking. "You can't." Murad froze. "What do you mean?" Arda looked directly into Murad's eyes. "They didn't lock me in here to keep me trapped." Murad's heart stopped. "Then why?" Arda whispered the word slowly. "To keep it trapped with me." Behind us, the creature began walking closer, each step making the ground shake, and the shadows started whispering again. "The 13th night has begun." Murad realized the horrible truth. If he opened the cage, the creature would finally be free. The creature stepped closer. Each step echoed through the underground tunnel like a hammer striking stone. Thud. Dust fell from the ceiling. Murad stood frozen beside the cage, staring at his brother through the cold metal bars. "Arda, I'm getting you out," he said desperately. Arda shook his head violently. "No." His voice cracked, filled with fear. "Murad, listen to me. If you open this cage, it will escape." Murad looked behind him. The creature was now only a few meters away. Its body twisted unnaturally, stretching like living darkness. The red glow from its eyes burned through the dim tunnel. Layla stepped back slowly. "That thing, it's not just a monster," Samir whispered, almost unable to speak. "It's controlling the shadows." Behind us, the shadow figures from the basement had started entering the tunnel. They moved slowly along the walls like silent servants, surrounding the room. Murad grabbed the cage bars harder. "But I can't leave you here." Arda's eyes filled with tears. "I stayed here for 13 years to keep it trapped." Murad's hands trembled. "What are you talking about?" Arda looked at the creature approaching them. "That thing feeds on fear, memories, guilt. The creature suddenly stopped walking, its long head slowly tilted, then it spoke again with the same horrifying voice, Murad's father's voice. "You always were the brave one, Arda." Murad felt his blood run cold. "That voice," Arda nodded slowly, "it uses the voices of people you trust." The creature smiled, its mouth stretched impossibly wide. "You should listen to your brother, Murad." The shadows behind us whispered louder. The tunnel grew darker. "Open the cage," the creature said softly. "Set him free." Murad stepped back. "No." The creature took another step. Thud. The ground shook. "But you want to save him," it whispered. "I can help you." Murad clenched his fists. "How?" The creature pointed one long shadowy finger toward Arda. "His life, for the 13th soul." Everyone froze. Samir whispered in horror. "What does that mean?" Arda closed his eyes. "It means someone has to stay here forever." Murad shook his head violently. "No. There has to be another way." The creature's red eyes glowed brighter. "There isn't." Then suddenly, crack. The cage lock began to break on its own. The metal twisted slowly. Layla screamed. The cage. The shadows were moving now, crawling toward the cage like black smoke. Arda grabbed the bars and shouted, "Murad, you have to choose." Murad's heart pounded so hard it felt like it might explode. Save his brother, or keep the creature trapped. The lock snapped. Clang. The cage door slowly opened by itself. The creature began laughing. Deep. Terrible. And from the darkness behind it, more shapes began to rise. Not one creature, but many. And the 13th night was only beginning. The cage door creaked open. The rusty metal screamed as it slowly moved, echoing through the underground tunnel like a warning that came too late. Everyone froze. Murad's heart pounded so loudly he could barely hear anything else. His brother stood inside the cage, trembling, staring at the open door as if it were the edge of a cliff. "Murad," Arda whispered. The creature behind them smiled. Its long, twisted body stretched closer, its red eyes glowing brighter in the darkness. "You see?" it said calmly. "Freedom." Murad stepped in front of the cage instinctively, as if he could protect Arda from something the large and ancient. "You're not taking him," Murad said. The creature laughed softly. "Take him?" Its voice echoed through the tunnel. "I don't need to take him." The shadows behind it moved again. Now there were dozens of them, crawling along the walls, whispering in low, broken voices. Samir slowly backed away. "This place, it's feeding on us." Layla nodded, her voice shaking. "The fear. The guilt. Everything." Arda slowly stepped out of the cage. For the first time in 13 years, he stood free. But he didn't look relieved. He looked terrified. Murad grabbed his shoulders. "We're leaving. Right now." Arda shook his head slowly. "No, you don't understand." Murad frowned. "What?" Arda turned toward the creature. "That thing has been waiting." Murad felt cold inside. "Waiting for what?" The creature answered before Arda could speak. "For the 13th soul." The shadows suddenly became silent, completely silent. Even the air felt frozen. Samir whispered, "13th soul?" The creature lifted one long finger and pointed slowly at the ground. At the tunnel floor, strange symbols began glowing faintly under our feet. Layla stepped back in horror. "Those marks, they're everywhere." Arda nodded slowly. "There were 12 before us." Murad's stomach turned. "12 what?" Arda's voice broke. 12 children. The creature smiled wider. 12 sacrifices. Murad's chest tightened. "You're lying." The creature stepped closer. The ground trembled beneath its weight. "Every 13 years, it said slowly, the door opens." Murad suddenly understood. The cassette. The letters. The hidden door. Everything had been leading to this moment. "You needed us to come here," Murad whispered. The creature nodded. "Yes." The shadows began whispering again, soft. "Hungry. 13 souls. 13 souls." Samir looked around desperately. "There are 4 of us here." The creature tilted its head. "Exactly." Murad realized the terrible truth. The 13th soul had to stay behind, and the creature didn't care who it was. It only needed one. The shadows started moving closer, slowly surrounding them. Layla grabbed Murad's arm. "We have to run." But Arda didn't move. Murad looked at him. "Arda?" Arda's eyes were filled with tears. I knew this day would come. Murad shook his head. What are you talking about? Arda looked back at the creature. Someone has to stay. Murad's voice rose. No. The creature laughed again, deep. Satisfied. Choose quickly. The tunnel walls began shaking violently. Dust fell from above. The shadows lunged forward, and in that moment, Arda suddenly ran toward the creature. Arda! Murad screamed, but Arda turned back one last time and whispered the words Murad would never forget. 13 years was enough. Then he stepped into the darkness, and the creature closed its red eyes, as if the sacrifice had already begun. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Adventure, mystery, drama, and a little bit of horror, stories of every kind are waiting for you. Do you love stories full of surprises? Then subscribe and don't miss a single twist or hidden secret.